everyone, and welcome to Inspire Care 360 webinar. Today, we are discussing digital building blocks, ECE marketing strategies with our very special guest, Nick Williams. Nick is the founder of Childcare Business Growth, as well as many other things that you will learn a little bit later. I personally was able to go to Nick's conference last year, and I can tell you just Nick and his team are just a wonderful group of people to be around. So we are excited to have Nick on this webinar today. And please put your names in the chat and tell us where you're from so that we can welcome you. I know we have people jumping on now. So yeah, so please just put your name, where you're from, say hello. And we're happy that you can join us today. And we'll have several others coming on. There's Erica from New York. Welcome, Erica. Thomas from Virginia. Hi, Thomas. Thank you. Oh, good. Renee from Houston. Lauren from Rochester. China from Virginia. I almost said that backwards. Thank you all for joining us. Excellent. Justin, Angela from Oklahoma. We have a good mix of everyone from everywhere. Hi, Angela. So yes, digital ECE marketing strategies. I can tell you as a previous business owner, there is so much to be said for good quality marketing. That's why we brought Nick on here. He is the champion of that. Welcome. I'm trying to keep up here. Oh, Angela from Nigeria. Coming from a long way. Welcome. Thank you for joining. No others are popping on here. Lori from Massachusetts. Hi, Lori. Thank you for joining us today. Again, today's webinar, as everyone is popping on, is about digital building blocks, ECE marketing strategies with our very special guest, Nick Williams. And it will be hosted by ours truly, our CEO and founder, Tony D'Agostino. My name is Jessica Wright. I'm actually the Executive Vice President of Operations at Inspire Care 360, and I'm happy to be your MC today. Please, again, as you join, pop on the chat, tell us where you're from. I'm down in Florida, so maybe we'll have some others in Florida. This is just a quick cap of our agenda today. Of course, we'll be welcoming our host very soon. We'll do some housekeeping items about our ECE Healthy Advantage. So if you're interested in affordable healthcare, we'll talk a little bit about that. AskRegi, a very cool AI tool that we are launching. So you'll hear a little bit about that. Then we'll introduce Nick, who is our special guest today. We'll have some discussion with him, talk about our partnership with Childcare Business Growth, and then finish off with just a little bit more about Inspire Care 360, IC 360. Do not forget that if you're seeking CEU certificate, please use the link here. We'll also put the link in the chat, so you'll be able to access it there. But please click that link and request your webinar certificate, and you will get those in the next day or two. So the link is there. Thank you, Sarah, for putting that in there. And just a reminder there that you do have to follow the link and fill out the form to receive that certificate. So I'd like to welcome Tony D'Agostino. Tony is the founder and CEO of Inspire Care 360. He owns childcare businesses, and he keeps this ship going strong. So.
Well, thank you so much. More than kind, Jessica. I really appreciate it. Jessica has hung the moon. She's just amazing. I'm so proud of her and the rest of the team that works over here at IC 360. So we're happy to be with you today. So Jessica, I will take the baton from you. So thank you so much for getting us to this point, and we're going to get underway. And so with that said, actually, this should be changed. I actually own 4 childcare schools in Western New York. But let's jump right on in. And we're going to do a little bit of the housekeeping up front. For those of you who are unaware, in the States, I know there are a few people out of the States, we do offer something that is very unique in the marketplace. This is a highly affordable and flexible healthcare solution. We like to call it a deconstructed major medical plan. Why? Because in the US, major medical plans have become wildly expensive. Not only are there high premiums that our staff members have to pay, but quite oftentimes half of those, if not more, are paid by the owners too, to offer these. Quite oftentimes, there's such high deductibles with these plans that our staff doesn't even use it because they cannot meet the deductibles, starting anywhere from like $3,500, but typically $6,000, and for a family, $10,000 deductibles. Those are huge. You have a big incident, you get none of it covered, and you're paying monthly, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So what we did is we put together a healthcare plan that has 5 healthcare benefit options and 6 supplemental care options. What it is inexpensive for the individual with very low premiums, starting at like $45 a month up to $130 a month for an individual, but that covers $15 office visits, $15 specialist visits, $50 urgent care or x-ray or lab works, pretty much anything outside of the hospital, which is all part of this program. So there are no high premiums, there are no deductibles. This works from $1. It is a qualified plan, which means it meets the Affordable Care Act. And for the owners, it starts at, for the first 10 people you have on the program, it's $50 per person. That is the only premium that the owner must pay. They can pay additional towards their employees' premium if they like, but this is the minimum amount they pay is $50 for the first 10 people, and number 11 and 12 or what have you start at $25. Compare that just to if you were to manage a family program and pay for half of it, and the family programs right now go for like $1,400. So that's $700 out of pocket just for one family. This can cover a significant number. All of the plans include a telemedicine for the entire home of your staff, family administration, or owners. And again, it meets the Affordable Care Act, and we do all the benefit administration. So we do all of the marketing up front to make sure everybody knows about it, the education of what's the difference between a major medical, Healthy Advantage, voluntary or supplemental programs, so they can make the right decision, because it's important that they get the right person to be on the right kind of plan. We don't want a person who needs infusions all the time to be on a plan like this, because hospitalization is an option here. It's not included, but it's great because then you could choose what you want. That's why it's like a deconstructed major medical plan. So to learn more, Sarah has put a link in the chat. And if you want to find out more about this program, it takes about a month and a half to get set up, but you can set it up at any time. People can use it. Your staff can come on board at any time with it. When people are on, they need to be on for at least a year. There are qualifying events such as a birth of a child, or someone has divorced or something like that, where things can be changed, just like a typical program. And also we do the payroll administration for that set up. So that is Healthy Advantage. We're going to move forward and talk to you about a very new solution that we are bringing out, and we're going to give you an offer today too. And that is AskRegi.ai. So there's some significant challenges that all of us have in the industry, especially around regulations. This is currently just state-based, but eventually we will be going global with this, with some of the English-speaking countries, but then to all of the countries. What the challenges are is, like you have here from Gigi Schweikert, who said basically that trying to go through all of the government bureaucracy and data for each state can be very daunting. It is really can be a challenge to get quick access to your answers in your state regulations. You have to go download a big PDF, which is always changing, and make sure you have the right information to make the right calls, or else you're going to have significant violations, possibly revocation of licenses. I hope none of you get those. We've seen those happen before. So these are one of the major changes that happens around compliance. It's a hurdle in our industry. Also, what's a hurdle? is that trying to have access to all of your content in your school and having immediate access to. A lot of times we should put it up on OneDrive or SharePoint or Dropbox, and we try to then find that information. So having the ability to immediately find that information for your own policies and procedures for your staff and admin is something that is a challenge today. And then sort of like what Ricardo has said here, is recruiting and ramping up staff is really the most difficult part. It's crushing the industry. If we had an opportunity for rapid development and support services, it'd be a game changer for his organization. So that's where I'm going to introduce to you AskRegi. AskRegi's in a beta format today, which means that we have right now over 500 people testing it. Sarah will put in a chat a link that if you want to become a beta tester, there is no charge for it. The system is up and running and has been for a while. What we do is we scrape the content out of the regulatory content for every state. We also then will in the future be looking to help out by connecting with corporate content, but right now it's just for regulation. So we're doing state regulations and also CACFP for federal regulations, and you're able to ask questions of it. In the near future, you'll be able to use your, have it look at your company content exclusively for you, and no one else gets to look at that. Your policy, procedures, process. You will be able to create on-demand training, job aids. It'll be able to help you with contract, and looking at all your agreements with vendors or providers that you have, as well as some of those with family contracts and any kind of governance. And if you took a look at it, I will just give you a quick preview that here is AskRegi live up at AskRegi.ai. And when you sign in, you have an opportunity to choose the state that you would like to choose. And let's say we do a federal regulations, must you provide snacks when a child demands it? We just had that one asked to one of our directors. This goes and it looks at the federal regulations for CACFP, and it says, according to the adult care program, snacks must be provided based on meal patterns. These, what the components are, the quality of this. However, you'll notice that actually we do need to provide them, but it's not a must. So there's an opportunity to ask questions in different ways to get them right to the right answer. So this is a program that allows you to get immediate access to the information you need, and then it has a reference to bring you right into the documents, right to where you are able to, in turn, get more detail on the answers, and that's on all of the questions that are asked. You then have to provide some feedback, like it's a positive answer. I'm going to say that this answer is not perfect because it is not a must to provide multiple times in the day, which was really my question I wanted to ask. But yes, you do need to provide a snack, so it was accurate in that. So let's go ahead and just do that. And you have history here and the like, but that's AskRegi. It is a free tool for you right now for managing and looking into your state regulations for the state you're going for. So we're going to move on from there. And I want to thank you for allowing us to take a moment to show that to you. And with that said, let's jump right on back to our presentation. And next, we are going to bring on our friend, Nick Williams. So Nick, if you want to join the party,
Hey, Tony. Nice to see you. Appreciate you guys being here. Hey, everyone. Hope you're having a great day so far.
Yeah, Nick and I have had a chance to meet each other probably about a year and a half ago. And just right away, I think we hit it off with, we have very similar backgrounds in the sense that he has owned schools himself. I currently own schools. We both saw a need in the marketplace for some different things. He built a company that he's in the UK, but he does a tremendous amount of work here in the States. And he has really been very focused and has very similar values for his organization as for the values we have at Inspire Care 360. So with that, over the past 2 decades, he's really done a tremendous amount of work within the marketing area. Am I characterizing you okay, Nick?
Yeah, I appreciate it, Tony. Yeah, you're doing a great job so far.
Well, just for those, what we've decided to do is we're putting together an area of our offering. So for those of you who haven't maybe seen it before, Inspire Care 360 really is broken into two areas. There's our university platform, and then there's our services. And that's anywhere from handbooks, orientations, operational procedures, professional development, job aids, our performance management systems, your ability to develop and deliver content off our platform, everything being continuing education units, our CDA program, and our ability for you to develop your own e-learning and deliver it along with surveys. And then on the other side of it is from our healthcare, we talked about all of our HR solutions, from our leadership development, our brand assessment, and we're going to talk about digital marketing in just a section, as well as our star rating tools, exit interviews, PR crisis, financial experience, and then our group purchasing organization. What we decided to do is that the digital marketing is something we have done partially internally with partners, but after Nick and I have talked about, we have chosen to have Nick be the provider with Childcare Business Growth on the back end. So what does this mean for you? This means that if you are a member of Inspire Care 360, we have an exclusive program for you coming over and starting to use Nick's organization. And that would come to you coming through us and saying, hey, I'm interested in getting introduced to Nick as one of our existing members. And we have a special program that he'll talk about in a few minutes overall of what he does. But the special program we'll talk to you about one-on-one if you have an interest. So with that said, Nick, I wanted to make sure you had plenty of time to present. So I'm going to stop sharing and give the comm to you.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you, Tony. Right. So thank you everyone for being here. Really appreciate you guys taking the time out. I know we've got a lot going on, every one of us. So hopefully you guys can see my screen okay. You'll see my our lovely team photo there, myself and my wife. Is that okay, Tony? Can you see us okay? All good? Awesome. Okay, so let's get stuck in. One of the big things here, Tony, do you want me to go through the slide quickly to give an idea of the offering? I've taken that one back out. Do you want to share really quickly your slide again, Tony, if that's okay? The one that you had the diagram in. Let's just whiz through that one quick, if that's okay.
Not a problem whatsoever. So bear with me 1 second.
No worries.
I'll pull it up, and I think it's this one, correct?
That's the one. Perfect. So if you don't mind just bringing all the diagrams up there, I'd appreciate it. Excellent. So the way we look at digital marketing, just to give you guys an idea here, is that it's an all or nothing approach, basically. One of the biggest things we look at, it's really, really important. If we're trying to, compete with these big chains that have huge marketing departments, one of the big things we look at is we need to look at every aspect of marketing, okay? I'm going to share an example with you really, really quickly, but one of the most successful campaigns that we've run recently for a client was through Bing.com. Now, how many of you are actually ever thought of advertising on Bing.com? Maybe one or two of you. So the point I'm trying to make here is that when we look at marketing, we need to look at it from every aspect. Now, you might not have all these things in place yet, and that's obviously why we're working with the amazing team at Inspire Care 360 to cover off everything we do. So let me tell you really quickly what we do as a company. So let's just start at the top here. We've got social media. We focus on all the social media management for you in terms of growth and outreach for potential families. We do all the video production. We do all the graphic design. Just touching really quickly on that one. Video production, the average person spends 90 minutes a day watching video now. So that just goes to show how important video is. We do all the graphic design, all the sales copies, all the written words, any automations to make your life much easier, all your paid advertising, your website design and updating that on a regular basis. We have virtual masterminds, in-person masterminds, different other training programs available, and game plans. And the idea basically is that what you're doing here is that instead of you having to employ a whole marketing team to be able to facilitate this, you come to us. We are the experts. This is what we do every single day. You have an amazing offer from the team at Inspire Care 360, and we basically handle all of that marketing for you. It's just we're in a different building. We're not in the same building as you guys, but we have the experts that we facilitate this every day for clients all around the world.
And Nick,
yes,
I want to offer to people, as you look at this, you know, being a childcare business owner, a lot of times we're used to sort of what I call piecemealing things together. We need a piece here, we want a piece there, and it gets into our mind oftentimes about, well, you know what, I might need this social media, but I might not need that, and I might need this, so I'm not sure if I need the whole thing kind of thing.
Totally.
What I'd like you to think a little bit about out there is, if you were to recruit and hire your own marketing person, and in our industry today, if you're not doing digital marketing, you really are way behind. You need to be focused on what your reputation and your presence is out in the community to draw in not only new enrollments, but really staff members who really believe in you. What I like about what Nick and team are doing and why I thought this was a good fit for us is because typically in the States, you would pay anywhere from maybe 40,000 to 60,000 for a digital marketing person who could do maybe a few of these things for you. And if you were to outsource a couple of these different things to different providers, you're managing a lot of different things. One person's doing your ad spend here, another person's helping you with a newsletter here. You're trying to do internally some blog work. What this is think about when Nick talks through these things, you have a very robust team, like you saw on the front page, that is very responsive, who becomes basically your marketing team, that you have basically a big slice of them to do all these things as needed as part of your roadmap and your game plan that you want to put together with them. Is that fair, Nick?
No, I think it's very fair assessment. I love the way you've explained that. And also as well, Tony, just to touch on, if you were to even outsource anything like this to just, you know, a paid ads team, you know, the part of the danger with this is that who's to blame if someone's running ads to a website and the website doesn't convert or someone doesn't follow up with the inquiries? There's no way to tie all that together. So what we do here is we look at the whole thing and look at, right, where's the issue right now? Is it the front end bringing inquiries in? Is it the website that's not converting? Or is it maybe possibly an issue on the back end where, as a business, we're not following up with those potential families? So we like to look at everything that ties in all together. And we're able to advise you guys way quicker if there's any changes in the market or we've tested something for another company. We can then roll that out for everyone else too.
Fantastic. So I'm going to stop and let you
Appreciate that.
take over the comm.
Awesome. Right, guys. So let's get stuck in. So I'm going to go fast. There's lots of information to go through. But as Tony said, there's 35 of us now in the team. And every one of these specialize in a different aspect of marketing. But today we're going to look at, well, what we're going to cover off. We're going to look at why is marketing critical to future success of your business, marketing fundamentals and the importance of your brand. We're going to look at how to simplify your marketing, how to stand out from those big competitors out there, why unconverted leads is a huge problem for most businesses, and how to recruit and retain staff. Way different to what anyone else is doing right now. Now, I like to always start there. I think it's really important. Everyone asks me at the end, can I get a copy of that resource? So what I'm going to make sure you guys, if you like something I share with you today, all I want you to do is make a note of this email address. And if you'd like to get a copy of any of the resources that I share with you, send us an email to support@childcarebusinessgrowth.com, and I will make sure I get those resources sent directly out to you so you can have a copy, a template. You don't need to recreate it. We will literally give you the template and you can go to town.
And I'm going to ask Sarah in the background to just grab that email and put it in the chat for Nick.
Awesome. Appreciate that.
There it is. Already done.
Excellent. So the reason why we're looking at this, as Tony touched on earlier, word of mouth marketing isn't effective anymore. It is still effective, but nowhere near as effective. So it's really important that we look at it that we're fighting against some big chains. And the whole culture, the whole ethos of us here at Childcare Business Growth is that whilst there's a place in the market for these big chains, my whole mission here at Childcare Business Growth is to help family-run businesses that really want to grow and try and compete with that. Okay, so from our perspective, these big companies have big budgets. They're in a big position here, and it can be hard for us to compete with these. Now, I always like to throw a bit of fun in here. All I'm going to do, if any of you are interested in taking part, just really, really quickly, because there's a point to make here. But can anyone see where Wally is? Can anyone find Wally? Just give me first one in the chat. Let me know where Wally is. Just let me know, is he on the top, left, middle, bottom? Where is he? Let me see if you guys are awake. Just let me know. Just give me an idea of where he is in the photo. Anyone spot him? Anyone? Middle, Jessica, appreciate it. Okay, thank you, Jessica. So the point I want to prove to you guys here is that it can be really difficult to stand out from the competition when we're all doing the same as everyone else. Okay. And that's the whole concept I want you to get from this, is that we need to stop doing the same as everyone else and be different and be unique. Okay. Just because we're not a big corporate chain or we're not a multi-site operator, we might be a family-run business. That's great, because there is a percentage of the market that really want to find that type of facility. And if you are that type of facility, I want to encourage you to be different and to advocate that as much as you can. So let's talk about how do we do that. Now, you're probably wondering, well, how do I market? There's so many options out there. So many people have different opinions. There's email marketing, influencer marketing, mobile marketing. There are so many different options here. So what I want to do for you guys today is cover off the fundamentals. I'm going to give you, first of all the free things. Then we touch on some paid advertising. Then we'll go to the follow-up. So,
hey, Nick, before you do that, I just want to say is we did get one question so far, which I know you'll probably be touching on. And the person asked, is the majority of the audience you're trying to reach through digital marketing solely new families to enroll? Because we actually do pretty good with that, managing through our websites, but we truly struggle reaching new hires. So I just want to make sure you know that when you're going through.
Yeah, so what I've done here, folks, I've split out the section. So we're going to focus the first part of this webinar around families, but then we're going to touch on the staff recruitment at the end, where I'm going to give you some really good golden nuggets there in terms of the recruitment. So you're talking specifically about staff there, Tony?
That's what they asked about.
Awesome. Definitely, we're going to cover that off. So you're definitely in the right place, okay? So don't worry, we're going to cover off the staff side too. So here are some basic fundamentals that are actually important. And let me just touch on that. A lot of the things that I'm covering off here that are important to get families enrolled are actually equally as important to get new staff members on board too. Because what some of us don't do enough really is we don't realize that potential new hires are actually going to things like our website. They're going to our social media and they're going to our videos to have a look at, well, why is this business different? Why should I go and work for them? So whilst it relates to family enrollment, it also relates to staff too. So the first thing, it sounds obvious, but allocate time to market your business. So many people are not actually doing this, and they're focusing on the nitty-gritty of the operations. Craft your elevator pitch. I'm going to talk about this in a second. Give your team some FAQs. Set up and manage your Google business profile. Check the inquiry process, which you'll be amazed how many people don't do this. Automate your follow-up and engage your customers how they want to be engaged. Pretty basic, but let's talk about why these are important. Do most of you have what I call an elevator pitch? And what I mean is, if I approached any one of your team and I was on the 10th floor in an elevator, going to the ground floor, and they overheard that I was looking for childcare, how would they sell your business to me as someone that's looking for childcare right now? Could every one of your team tell and articulate exactly who you are, what you do, and why you're different? Give me a yes or a no in the comments. If you feel your team can articulate exactly who you are, what you do, and why you're different. Give me a yes or no. Let's have some honesty here. Hopefully most of you are going to give a yes, but it's okay if we have a no too. Okay, anyone? Just making sure you guys are with me. Like to get lots of participation. Not really. I appreciate your honesty. Lawrence put yes. Awesome. Good. So one of the first things I want to take away from this, just make some notes of these golden nuggets, okay? Craft your elevator pitch. If someone was to, if you were to summarize it, what would that look like? And the next one I want to share, and it sounds so obvious, guys, but it's so important. Frequently asked questions. I once visited a setting here in the UK. I went along and I actually asked them, this was the setting, it was a big sport, so you can't see the size of the facility from the front. And I said, can I park on the driveway? There were 8 different answers to that one question. 8 different answers. No, it's for the director. No, it's for tours. No, it's for someone else. No, it's for the health visitor. So the point I want to make sure here is, are all your team on the same page? I will often call centers and I'll ask them questions, and you will be amazed how many owners put their head in their hands because they can't believe some of the responses that their team give. So I want to encourage you, every time you get a question in your business, go in and ask your team, do they know how to do these basic things? Because even though we're talking about marketing here, this falls under marketing, okay? Now, the next one. How many of you, give me a 1 in the comment if you have customers that are not your ideal customer. Give me a 1 in the comments if you have customers that are not your ideal customer. And the reason why that happens sometimes is because we're in a situation where we're just generally marketing to everyone. okay? And then we end up attracting the wrong families. Now, let me give you an example. If I ran a setting, a childcare center that did 90% of my education outdoors, and I had families that didn't want their children outdoors in the winter months, are they my ideal customer? And of course, no, they're not. So the point I want to make to you guys here is, number one, we need to be crystal clear on who is the family we're looking to attract. That's the first point. Number two, we need to be clear on the message that we're putting out there, because the way we market to Generation X is different the way we market to Generation Y, and they were different to the way we market to Generation Z, because this is the first time in history that we actually have all different, these three generations that we are marketing to. And I want you to think about this, that stop generalizing your marketing. We have childcare spots available. Come to us. Think about who you're speaking to. How many of you, give me a yes or a no, if you really could crystal clear explain to me who your ideal customer is. If you can think of someone right now that is your perfect customer, I'm not going to put you on the spot, but give me a yes or a no. If you feel you could really articulate who that ideal customer is, yes or no, be really honest with me. Give me some feedback, guys. Really appreciate it. Okay, yes or no in the comments if you feel that. Okay, Tony, yes, awesome. So the point I want to make to you here is, if you're not crystal clear, you're probably being very generic or very general with your marketing right now. Okay, so I want to encourage every single one of you. Number one, think of the ideal customer. Who is it you're looking to attract in the business? And what message do I need to send to attract that particular person, rather than being more generic in my marketing? So one of the big things I see a lot of, I speak to centers and I say to them, okay, where are your spaces right now? How much availability do you have? Well, our preschool room and our toddler room is full, but I have spots in my babies. Okay, so why are we running ads right now that are generic ads? We're wasting money just putting ads out there appealing to all age categories. And it's like a light bulb moment going off. So the point I want to make to you here again is, be really specific on what the service is you're promoting, who the age group is you're looking to attract, and then off the back of that, who you're looking to speak to. What message is going to resonate with that particular individual? Okay, lots of different ways you can do that, through paid advertising and free advertising too. Just start to think about that person. Now, I often share this analogy with you guys that I think it's really important, because how many of you would prefer the image at the top or the image at the bottom? How many of you like the chaos versus the organization? Give me top or bottom. And for me, from my, oh, sorry, Tony, you can ask a question there?
Yeah, as long as they don't step on a Lego, I'm okay with you.
You're good. Okay. So Emily, I appreciate you. Lauren, I appreciate you too. Bottom, awesome, guys. So the point I want to make here is that, let's be honest here. How many of you have a simple, clear overview of where every single person is in your inquiry process? So for example, this person downloaded a parent pack. This person requested a tour but didn't show. This person wants to come back for a second tour, okay? And you might have that partially, but the point I want to make to you here is you must be really specific. And this also relates to recruitment, which I'll come on to later. But it's very important here, guys, that you have inquiry lists, you have existing customer lists, previous customers that left happy and unhappy. We have those sometimes. Families that didn't enroll. Maybe they didn't enroll now, but they might enroll to our summer program. You'd be surprised how many companies I come across that have paid for marketing. They've done all this work to get this person's contact details, and then they don't promote anything new that's coming out. So they might have a summer program. There's someone that signed up to their list 6-12 months ago, and they don't go back out and market these services to them. Okay, you've paid for that. It's a free person now. You've got them on your list. Make the most of your list. And of course, you can split them into other categories too. Now, here's an example of a pipeline, okay? And one of the things you'll see here on this pipeline, I can see exactly where every single person is in the inquiry process. I can see I have a wait list right now of 63 families, and the value of those 63 families is $63,860 each month. That's awesome. So I know who I can go out to when those spots become available and when, okay? So let's move on quickly from this one. This is a real big one for me. How many of you right now are using things like text, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp Messenger, or maybe you're using them, but actually you're struggling to keep on top of them? Well, there are lots of platforms out there now. We have our platform, Childcare Automation, where all those conversations come into one place. And the point I'm trying to make here is, if an inquiry comes through on Facebook Messenger and they want to speak to you via Facebook Messenger, carry on that conversation. If someone texts you and they want to text back and forth, carry on the conversation via text. Because what I often see is people will try and, a conversation comes in via text message, maybe on your website, via chat, and then you'll call them from the main office number of the childcare business, and the family doesn't answer because they think it's a normal sales call. So the point I want to make to you guys here, if you take anything from this slide, is be available to respond on multiple platforms and respond to the platform that that person chose to engage with you on in the first place. We're having situations right now with family enrollment and recruitment where 80 to 90% of the whole process is being done via text and Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp. Okay, so I encourage every one of you guys to be looking at this at a far greater detail. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail on this because I think it's really important to say at a surface level. But a lot of you, hopefully not, but most websites I come across in the industry will only have one or two main ways you can get in contact on the website. It will have contact us or request a tour. That's it. What if I've just become pregnant right now? That'd be a miracle. But if I had become pregnant right now, I'd be in a situation where, well, am I going to request a tour right away? Maybe I'm not looking for childcare for 12 to 18 months from now. So the point I want you to take from this particular slide is have multiple calls to action, CTAs, multiple ways people can get in contact with you, because not everyone is ready to book a tour right now. Okay, so give me a yes in the comments if that makes sense. Does everyone get that? Okay, multiple calls to action. Not everything should require someone to give their cell phone number straight away. They might not be ready. They might only be willing to share an email address with you right now. They might only be willing to send an address. We send packs out in the mail. Okay.
You know, I think, Nick, you bring up a really good point. A lot of times we get into a mode where we set and we establish the way that families need to interact with us.
Oh,
But
totally.
I think when we look at the generations like you talked about, the ones who are now well into having kids are the millennials, and the Gen Zs are coming along. And if you look at the personality there, the one word I would say is flexibility.
Totally.
They are looking for different modalities that they've learned to communicate on. So I think you're spot on sort of the mountain has to come to them. You can't always force them to come to the mountain.
I appreciate that. It was perfect timing because, you know, here's an example of one of the parent packs we send out. Okay. And I'm going to give you this simple analogy. And I don't have you on video, but think of the concept of raising your hand as high as you can and then stretching that bit further. That's what these are. Okay. I often come across websites where you can, you know, download a parent pack, or you can, you know, request it via email. But don't underestimate how valuable going that one step further is. So not only meet the person where they are, but think about what actually can I do to stretch that bit further over what everyone else is prepared to do too. So that was perfect timing, Tony. You allowed me to grab my pack at the right time then. Appreciate that. Okay, let's get back in. So again, make sure there are multiple ways people can get in contact with you. Not everyone is ready to give you a cell phone number right away. They might just be prepared to give you an email address. Okay, so again, one of the big things I want to advocate for every single one of you is keep your website clear. Keep it simple. No one has the time right now to go and view all your policies, procedures, and your enrollment packs and everything else. Whilst that's important to a certain aspect, there's a time and a place for those things. But if I'm running any type of paid advertising, or I'm trying to get people to opt in, give me their details, I want to keep it simple. Okay. So give me a quick shout out. What type of center is this business? Let me know in the chat. What type of center is this? What would you say?
While they're answering that, Nick, I've noticed recently a number of schools, and I think honestly it's a little bit of a misdirection themselves, that they probably need to. They haven't maybe invested much in a website, and they're putting more like into a Facebook page. So I'd like to have your opinion on that, which I think they see that as an inexpensive way to get the word out. But what are the troubling waters there possibly without having a website like this?
Yeah, I think it comes back down to, you talked about this positioning around brand and where you stand in the market, but go back to that concept of raise your hand and stretch that bit further. There's a slide that's coming up that's really relevant to this, because from my perspective here, we all have customers, or most of us have customers that we don't really want. They're not the right fit. Maybe you're the type of school that, the type of center that wants your children in by a certain time of day. I'm coming across a lot of businesses like that right now. And if I'm not openly advocating that on my website and through my videos and through all the information that's available, I'm going to attract the wrong family into my business from day one. And you're going to end up bringing that family in. You're going to pay money to bring that family in. And all of a sudden, we're attracting the wrong people in. So the point I want to make there is go back to this concept of raise your hand, stretch that bit further. Now, you've all got this answer right. You've talked about it's a very formal school. And you can tell that just by landing on the site. Okay? You didn't need to go looking. So the point I want to make here is keep it simple. Don't just make a website look pretty. Okay? Don't just make it look pretty. Don't just put cartoon images on there. Make it an exact representation of who you are and what you're about in your center. Okay. And again, video you'll see is always at the top. The amount of times I go to a website right now and you have this huge space at the top is just an image or a scrolling image. With the greatest respect, guys, those days have gone. Okay. And we need to be getting information to people quickly. They want information 60 to 90 seconds that tells them who you are, why they're different, and why they should even consider coming to you in the first place. Most people spend on average between 30 seconds to 2 minutes. And that's if they like it. If they don't get their attention in the first few seconds, they will drop off straight away. Okay. So hopefully, Tony, that gives you kind of answering your question there.
Yep, absolutely does.
Awesome. Now, which one of these images stands out? Is it the house, the pool, or the pig? Let me know if you don't mind. House, pool, or pig? I'm sorry, guys. I like to get lots of interaction, but just to make sure, pool. Emily, I appreciate it. Angela, pool. Awesome. Okay. Pool. Erica, everyone's gone for the pool. Great. Okay. So here's a big point. It sounds obvious, guys, but this facility, okay, is it's a beautiful location. But do you think the building on the outside looks that nice? Give me a yes or no. I'd probably say no. Okay. Yeah, it's an older building. It's one of those here in the UK. Angela, thank you. Lauren, appreciate you. Thank you, guys. So the point I want to make here is that this just highlights the importance of video, because as people are scrolling through their social media feeds, something has to grab their attention. Something has to grab their eye. And a house or this building isn't going to do that. So when you use video, first of all, video is vitally important, but also it needs to stop people scrolling. So if you're doing the same as everyone else, expect to get the same results. So again, go back to the question around recruitment. I would use this exact same video in my recruitment piece, because guess what? I am really lucky that I have a swimming pool for my childcare center. I also have a farm. Okay. So from that perspective, we have to look at it that we think about what sells the business. And these are huge things, huge advantages that they have over anyone else in the local area. But if I just had a Facebook page or I just had that image on the website, it wouldn't do it for me. Okay. So video is essential. Here's some example videos, promotional videos. What does this say? This one here, anyone, this main V1, what does this one say? And this congratulations video, what type of center are these? Anyone? Tony, what type of center would you say? What does that say? This main V1, this couple here.
Well, that looks to me like it may be a preschool because of the background.
Yeah.
It looks like it's engaging with families because it has a couple there who look like they're going to be talking. So,
Yeah.
I have a little bit of a perception right up front of what that environment's going to look like.
Love that. Perfect. Yes. And Emily's put family orientated. These are the owners of the business. Okay.
Ah.
And so often I never see the owners of the business. So my point here is that you've got to think about where you are in the market. If you own, one or two centers or multiple locations, do you want to be the face of the business, first of all? If you don't, that's fine. But there should always be a face to the business. And you'll notice, look at the difference between this video compared to this one. Straight away, there is a face to the business. We know who they are, okay? And the more you go into this video, you will not believe the interaction this video gets in comparison to this one, okay?
And, you know, Nick, one of the things that I think when you talk about video, especially against static images, we're a big believer in that. We do a lot of that in our learning and development. One of the stats that I think is important for people out there, that people are 27 times more likely to click on a video than they are on something that is static or not moving at all. And also 95% of the message on video oftentimes can be more retained than that of just reading on a website.
Totally agree. Couldn't agree more with you. So video is important. Now, I'm going to touch on this very briefly. There are so many different social media platforms out there. Okay, we're not going to go into them. But Threads, you know, look at this. Netflix took 3.5 years to grow to 1 million users. Threads took 2 hours, okay, to get to 1 million users. How many of us are actually using Threads? Probably not many. But my point is there are new social media platforms coming out all the time. And what I see by people is I see people go, oh, there's a new platform. I need to go and be on that platform. My question is to you, do you really? Do you actually need to be on there? Because out of all the stats right now, Facebook is still the #1 used platform in the US. Still the #1 used platform. Regardless of how big we all think TikTok is and those other platforms, Facebook is still the #1 used platform every day. So the point I want to make is there are lots of different platforms out there that are different, that are appropriate for different demographics. But if you're going to go for one, just focus on one. And if it's going to be anything, it's going to be Facebook right now. Okay? If you take one thing away from this.
So Nick, may I ask you a question for the audience there? We oftentimes, and you're talking about social media platforms, which mean a number of different things to a number of different people, right? There can be about paid advertising. There can be organic, which you could explain to the group and audience here of what organic really is, as well as to just talking about things that are going on in your environment, videos, what have you. When it comes to something like Facebook, is Facebook, or should we say to Google, is there a better platform that if you're going to spend money on ads, is there a better vehicle on that as to maybe like what we would say is more like the organic ads where you're not actually constructing them to sort of create a tour as much as get your brand across?
Yeah, very good question. So let me unpick that a little bit first of all. So right now we're focusing on free, okay, not paid, or free right now. We're going to gradually transition into paid in a few moments. But the point I want to make to you guys here is that if you're going to do any type of social media where it's putting images out, photos, etc., just organic free content, just sharing it out there to the market, focus on one for a start. And if there's going to be any one of those platforms, it would be Facebook, first of all, because it's still the #1 used platform. Now, let me touch on briefly, well, what types of things would we do on there? Okay. So first of all, it's really important to define what we're looking to do, because with the greatest respect to you guys, there's no point in just putting a photo up for a photo's sake. There's no point in just putting an image up for an image's sake. Make sure it has some kind of relevance. Let me give you an example of these on the right-hand side. Edutainment. People want value information. So see this lady here. This is a very good friend of mine, Shayna Isaac. And Shayna in this video is recording her top 3 tips on how to get your child interested in reading. And one of the things Shayna touches on in this particular video is the importance of routine. And I love this. There's a real hidden message here for you guys. I want you to listen hard to this. What Shayna's doing in this video is she focuses on, hey, routine is one of my top 3 tips. And we believe here at Toddler University that it's really important the child should have a really well-structured routine. That's why we ask every child to be in by 8:45 every day to make sure that they abide and they stick to that routine. So the point I want to make to you guys here is so critically important that these videos allow you to already pick out your ideal customer. Does that make sense? Is everyone with me on that? Yeah? Tony, you're nodding. Awesome. So quick whiz through on these. What types of things do people want to see? The biggest thing I want to encourage you guys to do right here is there's a difference between existing community, your existing families, and encouraging people to get more followers on your social media. I'll share these slides with you later on, but focus on existing community, the day-to-day things, what you're doing right now. But that's not going to get more and more families involved with you guys. You need to run competitions, provide value to that community. Don't ask for a sale, okay? Share valuable based content that people see you as the local expert that they know, like, and trust, okay? So that's the point I want to make there on social. If you want the sample content, I can give you a sample with some ideas of things you can share on social media too. I'll share that with you guys another time. Going to touch on community marketing really quickly. If there are big companies in your area, I want to encourage you guys, you need to get out there and build relationships. If you only had 1 hour once a month to work on marketing your business, there are big companies out there now that we are creating relationships with where we have filled half a center just from having a conversation with one big company. That might be Amazon, it might be universities, hospitals, big depots, whatever it is. Have a think about this, that this actually is the one golden nugget. If you only had an hour once a month, these would be the companies I would go after. So I'm not going to go into too much detail on that one right now. Influencer marketing, really quickly on this. There might be some local families out there that, you know, see themselves as mini influencers. I'm not talking about Kylie Jenner or any of those. I'm talking about local people that go out and they actually, you know, well-known mums in the area. Get them to come in, get them to record a video of why your center is amazing. So this is all free stuff, okay? So now, quickly, we're going to touch on what is paid advertising. Very, very important, because most of us, let me share this one analogy with you. If you put in, for example, $10, if you gave me $10 and I could give you $100 back, would that be a good thing? Would everyone be okay with that? So if you put in $10 and you get $100 back, of course, it's a good thing. And here's the issue that I feel most people, most businesses, not just in the childcare industry, don't understand, is this whole concept around a cost to acquire a customer. So let me break this down for you really quickly. If you were to spend $10 a day on paid advertising, let's say it's Facebook ads and Instagram, and I get one inquiry, that means it's costing me roughly $10 per inquiry. So if I get 10 inquiries, it's going to cost me $100, okay? If out of those 10 inquiries, I convert 2 customers, that means my conversion rate is 20%, and I only spent $50 to acquire a new customer. Be honest with me. How many of you know how much it costs you to acquire a customer right now? Just give me a yes or a no. Do you honestly know how much it costs you to acquire a customer? Emily, I really appreciate you saying that. No. Okay. Anja, thank you. Colleen, no. So the point I want to make to you guys, and this is the gold, okay? If I could turn around and say to you guys, right, you've got a brand new location, 300 spots that you need to fill, okay? And all you need to do is be open to the mindset of every time you spend $50 or $100, you're going to get a customer. Would you be open to that? Yes or no? Yes or no? Most people, hopefully, you're going to say yes. Thanks, Erica. Okay. So the point I want to make to you guys here is once you get this number, the rest becomes easy. It's not a case of, I need to spend $300 a month on marketing. You don't. You just need to know how much it costs you to acquire a customer. Once you know that cost, life becomes easy. You just spend that money every single time. And as long as you keep getting that new customer in every single month off the back of that advertising spend, you've cracked the formula. It's that simple. So I've got a template. I'm not going to go through it now, but there is a template with a video on that you can actually work this out. Okay. I've created it for you. You can use this. The other big thing I wanted you to touch on really quickly as well, 4 or 5 minutes left. Really important to know where your customers come from, because most people don't know. They don't actually know. And therefore, when they run marketing, they don't know what marketing is effective. So it's really important, guys, that when you run marketing, even if you don't have a system that can tell you, make sure you ask the family. Really dig in and ask them, okay? And one big thing that will separate you from the big chains out there, customer service is all going away. We all know we've got, all these checkouts now where there's no interaction with people anymore. One of the big things I love about our industry, we're never going to come away from customer interaction. So it's your opportunity to create an amazing customer experience for your families and for your potential recruits as well. Okay. So Really quickly, think about this from a tour's perspective. How nice does your facility look when they walk through the door? How do you make them feel? Do they get a nice snack? Do they get a drink? Is there a nice smell when they walk through the door? So start to think about how do you create customer experiences when people interact with you and your business. You don't need to spend money on that. You just need to show them the love and give them that experience. Okay, really quickly, very important to point out here, one of the biggest problems I see in most industries is not an inquiry issue, it's a follow-up issue. Here's a client that we actually stopped working with for a very important reason. Can anyone see how many people are in the in progress column? Tony, can you see that number?
Yep.
1,297 people.
Yep.
In the last, how many is that? Last 7 months, 1,297 people. Guess what? They don't follow up with them. They never call them. So the point I want to make to you guys is make sure you get a pipe where you can see this and check in with your team, because I promise you, most of you probably have the inquiries there. You're just not following up with them anywhere near enough. Okay, so we've touched on that. We touched on text really quickly. We're just going to whiz through this. Big point here, guys. Everything I've just talked about on the front end relates to the recruitment piece too. Okay, when you run your job ads, stop doing the same as everyone else. Make them different, make them more appealing, sell the benefits of working for your company. Okay, stop doing the same things as everyone else. Do you give them an extra few days off every year? Okay, what things can you do? Think about who you're looking to attract to the business. Stop just running a job ad and expecting everyone to apply because the message doesn't connect with them. If I'm a mum of 3 right now, only looking for part-time work, and she's a perfect fit for you, make sure you say that in the message, okay? So make sure you know who your ideal customer is when you're recruiting too. And this is the big one I want you to take from this. Don't just rely on job boards. When you're doing recruitment, we have every client we work with, we build out a full website purely for staff recruitment. All the benefits, videos, testimonials, downloadable guides. Just because someone downloads a guide right now doesn't mean they're interested in a job right now. They might be interested in a job 6 months from now. But I'm building my list, okay? So really quickly, stop just relying on one platform. You need to be advertised on multiple platforms. Remember I said at the start, Bing.com, we're getting people right now from campaigns on Bing.com. Okay, and they're successful candidates. 6 months ago, I would never thought that would have happened. And the other big thing as well, how many of you, really quickly to close on, how many of you see a candidate on paper, on their resume, and you think, oh, this is the perfect candidate right now. Perfect candidate for me and my business. But actually, when you interview them, you think, oh my gosh, this is a waste of my time. So one of the big things I want to encourage every one of you to do, and we do this, so if you came on board with this program with InspireCare 360, we actually get all candidates to submit video applications. So you can actually see what they like before you invite them to an interview. Imagine how game-changing that would be. And the last couple of ones, okay, raise your hand, stretch that bit further. When you're going to do interviews, send them a video of you and your team. Give them some tips to prepare for an interview. It might be their first one. Send them photos of your team gatherings. Give them a link where they can pick a time that works for them. They might be working in the daytime. Okay, run recruitment days. We're getting 40 to 50 people on average turn up for staff recruitment days right now. And last points, don't delay. Good candidates go quickly. Follow up quickly because people go quickly as well. Incentivize them to give feedback. And the last one is have your paperwork ready, guys, and get feedback from them. Incentivize feedback. Obviously, we're not going to touch on that. But there is something. So I just touch this quickly, Tony, about the event that's coming up that you're coming to?
Please, absolutely. Okay,
guys, we are running a 2-day event. If any of you are aware of our big events we run, CBG Live, we had 420 people there last year. This one is actually a 2-day intensive. One of the things I find with live events is that you often have lots of speakers, lots of content, great ideas. You go back all inspired into the business, and then the day-to-day happens again. So one of the big things we're doing with this event is we're actually slowing the pace down. We're going to have less speakers, but we're going to go in depth. We're going to go into each one of these topics, and we're going to implement what we learned live in the workshop. Okay. So it's really important, guys. We can have the amazing team there from InspireCare 360. It's going to be time to sit down and actually network with individuals. If you're interested in coming along to that 2-day event, it's going to be an unbelievable experience. We'd love to have you there. There's some big surprises on the way too. At that event, but there's the link if you're interested. Hopefully that's given you a full breakdown, Tony.
Yep, and matter of fact, Sarah just put the link into the chat for everybody. So if you want to take a moment to take a look at it, Nick, before we depart here, I'm going to tell the people just one or two more things, but what I really want to get across is you heard a lot from Nick right now. And one of the things that I want you to take away from what you heard from him was, candidly, is just investment. Everything he was talking about today wasn't about what they do and how they make money as much as how you guys can start doing things today with things you have right in front of you. You can start turning the knobs, twisting them. And that's what I found where when we say that Nick and I share a lot of the same values, you know, we both are believers in the high tides raise all ships approach. We're big believers that the more we give back, yes, people will build trust. People may use our outfits and our firms. And of course, that's what we're in business for. But at the end of the day, if you're successful, and whether you work with us or not, we want you and those kids that you're working with just to be absolutely amazing. And to do that, we want to help you get there. We think we have some other things that can be some secret sauce to help you really do it. So I think you can really take advantage of what Nick and his team does. There's more to come. There's no huge commitment or anything up front. Just have a conversation with Nick and his team. And I think you'll be very well prepared and impressed by what he does. So Nick, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.
We look forward to seeing you, and it's in July. What are the dates in July?
And 19th and 20th, Friday and Saturday in July. It's going to be amazing.
Fantastic. Jessica, who you met at the beginning of the call or saw at the beginning of the call, she's going to be there and she's going to be speaking. And we cannot wait to see you there. So hopefully you folks will jump. And I know that Sarah put the link down there. So I'm going to do one or two slides here before we depart. One is that we release ebooks all the time. And this one is actually written by our wonderful Jessica, our EVP of operations. And it's a great ebook. It's free. It'll be put in the chat. It's free for download. Prioritizing your well-being and being, helping create that supportive environment for your staff, empowering yourself, making things actionable. We have a series of ebooks. They're there for you. Again, there is no charge for it. It's just to try to help you out. Quick reads, easy reads, but hopefully very valuable and impactful. Our next webinar coming up in June, we'll get the dates out. I will actually be doing a presentation on the future of childcare with AI integration and transformation. This is something that is really going to affect all of us. By the end of 2025, in the childcare space, over 30% of our solutions will have an AI tied to it, artificial intelligence. There's a lot of things coming down. There's a lot of things that can be sort of scary, possibly, about AI. And we're going to have an open discussion about it, about what is the current landscape, what could be the benefits, but what can also be some of the cautionary tales. How should you look at possibly considering the use of AI? What should you possibly consider holding back on? Because there's some things that could be pretty intrusive when it comes to privacy, imagery over children's faces and things like that with, cameras in the future. There's going to be a lot of questions and debates on how those work, but there's going to be an opportunity for you to see some of the things that are going on. So keep an eye on your inbox for an invite for that. And just lastly, I want to thank you so much. And Nick, I want to thank you for joining us again. Absolute wonderful business partner. We're looking to do a lot of work with these folks. And Nick, next time you're over here, I'm going to have you out in the boat. We're going to have to go out and torture the fish a little bit.
That'd be amazing. Thanks everyone for having me on board as well.
And I'm very happy to have you, Nick. For those, again, if you have an interest, you saw in the chat how to get a small little form to get hold of Childcare Business Growth. And of course, any of the other service we want. So from Tony D'Agostino here, founder and CEO of Inspire Care 360, along with Jessica Wright, Sarah Dixon, and our team, along with Nick now as part of our team, we want to thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Have an absolutely wonderful afternoon, everybody. We'll see you soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.